The Ahsoka finale.
Prepare my ship.
And it was a lot like the rest of the series, but turned up to 11. The cinematography is still nice. I mean, that is some nice shot composition. It also has maybe the best fight scenes of the entire series, because the woman playing Morgan Elspeth is Diana Inosanto. She's the daughter of the martial artist Dan Inosanto. Her godfather was Bruce Lee. That's allegedly her as a child on the far left of the picture here. And what a waste that was. If she could do that, then why have her doing sod all for the last 7 episodes? I liked some of the casting in the show though. One of the Night Sisters was played by the Australian actress Claudia Black, who was in the movie Pitch Black and the series Farscape and Stargate SG-1, that were probably both better than Ahsoka on a fraction of the budget, with estimates in the press about the cost of Ahsoka being north of $100 million, and Claudia Black is frankly too good for this show. She was Aaron's son in Farscape. At least she's getting work, I suppose, even if I could barely tell it was her. But sadly, the same problems are also back in Ahsoka. Thrawn's character is supposed to be a cold, calculating tactical genius, but in the hands of Disney, he's now a blithering idiot, because he could have done a great number of things to ensure victory over his enemies, and they were all so simple, an average child should be able to think of them, but this tactical genius seemingly can't or won't. As an example, Thrawn's ship is docked at the planet later in the episode, and the good guys launch a ground attack to try and board it. Despite knowing that they were coming, it never once occurred to this tactical genius to take off.
Let the hate flow through you.
They're riding giant dog things. They can't get you if you're in space. They need to dock and join their 2 ships together, you see, because Disney probably has some toys they want to sell, so they need to join Thrawn's Star Destroyer and the Clown Donut, and even after they dock, the engine placement on the Eye of Sion would still cause it to spin wildly, which just leaves me imagining the look on Thrawn's face when his ship starts to wildly spin and career about, as Thrawn, blue-faced, shouts, "I hate you, Morgan Elspeth," but they join the ships together on the planet instead of in space for reasons. Narrative reasons, because if they'd done the logical thing and done this in space, the good guys would have had no chance to attack them, so the bad guys have to do something earth-shatteringly stupid for the good guys to stand a chance of winning. They need to do this so Thrawn's ship can travel between galaxies, and even when the good guys are approaching Thrawn's ship on the ground, they still don't have the wit to take off. So yes, sadly the episode was also like the rest of the series and was punctuated with moments of mind-blowing stupidity, a focus on style with very little substance behind it. Thrawn in this series is like a reverse Captain Sheridan from Babylon 5. In that, Captain Sheridan could take an inferior force and assets and find a way to still win with it. Thrawn, by contrast, in this series, has overwhelming force and assets and continually contrives to find a way to lose. Throughout this episode, I was looking at it thinking, are the bad guys trying to lose on purpose? Why else would they repeatedly split up? Look at this fight scene again, with Ahsoka and Morgan from later in the episode. Why are the troopers not shooting Ahsoka? Can anyone answer that for me? Why did they just lower their weapons? Are they doing it for honour? Why? They're supposed to be the bad guys. And even the good guys are fine gatting people that are retreating. And it didn't even have to get to the ground assault in the first place. Tactical genius Thrawn had many opportunities before that. Right at the start of the episode, he sends 2 TIE fighters to attack the good guys in their ship. And those 2 TIE fighters disable the ship but are knocked out because they can't space themselves properly and got rammed. But later, we find out that Thrawn had a minimum of 16 TIE fighters. You can see them in the background of multiple shots. This combined with the fighters that we know were on the Eye of Sion, they showed them last episode, Thrawn could have deployed at least 20 fighters and 2 capital ships. And in a way, I would want to be more angry about this.
Do it.
It's a problem in writing that in order to write a smart character, the writer tends to have to be smart themselves. In order to write a character that has smart ideas, the writer needs to be able to think of smart ideas. And on the strength of this show, Dave Filoni can't write a character like Thrawn. And I don't blame the actor. I've seen him in other things and he's competent to good. He did a somewhat similar role in the series Sherlock and he was pretty good in it. It's the script that's the problem in Ahsoka. Short of the actor trying to rewrite it, there's not much he can do. The actor playing Thrawn is a Danish actor called Lars Mikkelsen, and yes, he's related to Mads Mikkelsen. He's apparently Mads Mikkelsen's older brother. And this episode was stupid on levels that were like they were trying to win an award for it. In fact, the good guys only stood a chance in the first place due to the repeated mind-blowing idiocy of the bad guys. Everyone is stupid in Star Wars now. And even the obnoxious senator didn't get a conclusion to his story, the one who wouldn't believe that Thrawn was coming back. Or that Jedi and the Force were a thing despite the Empire only falling 5 years ago. Not believing in intergalactic space whales, that may be far-fetched on Earth, but you're living in a galaxy where you're a senator and the person to your immediate right is a 6-foot-tall fish squid and a body warmer. In comparison to that, you would think the intergalactic space whales were quite feasible, and so little happens in this episode as well. It's pretty much one long action sequence, and the action, although quite good in places, the fight choreography is nice, but the story and characterisation are almost non-existent again. It's a nice fight between two characters, but the audience are left having very little idea of who either of them are, what they want, what their motivations are. So the plot of the episode roughly goes, the bad guys' fighters attack the good guys' ship at the start, knocking it out. The good guys attack overland. They fight their way through an enemy temple filled with stormtrooper zombies. Yes, really. Try to board Thrawn's ship. Ezra makes it on board. Sabine and Ahsoka stay back to fight Morgan. Morgan loses, and it occurs to me, if Ahsoka had just done this in The Mandalorian, none of this would have even happened. Her showing mercy to Morgan got the entire crew of a Republic ship butchered. Morgan got away and reignited a galactic scale war. Before the fight, Morgan is given special unspecified powers by the Night Sisters so she can fight Ahsoka when Ahsoka tries to board Thrawn's ship. And if only the tactical genius Thrawn had not sent Balon and Shin away for no good reason a couple of episodes ago, they probably would have won easily. But the tactical genius in the show makes bad call after bad call, and the good guys are not much better. If Ahsoka had not brought Sabine in, no civil war. If she'd not let Sabine leave with the map, no civil war. If Sabine had not lost the map once by being an idiot, no civil war. If Sabine had not freely given the map to the bad guys for her own benefit, no civil war. Thrawn's ship opens fire and Sabine and Ahsoka are saved by Tenant Droid on the newly repaired ship that for some reason Thrawn's ship did not see coming or detect. The launch bays of his ship are guarded by 2 stormtroopers and nobody even notices when hostiles get on board. Thrawn didn't bother to use the 20 or so fighters he had left over or the at least 2 gunships to strafe the good guys to the Shadow Realm because, no, I've got nothing. Thrawn goes back to the original galaxy with Ezra still on board, leading to one of the dumbest moments in the whole series when Ezra escapes Thrawn's ship somehow, doesn't get detected, it all happens off camera, and goes back to the New Republic. And when he comes off of the ship, he's still wearing his disguise of stormtrooper armour, so the Republic forces nearly blaster him in the face. They wanted to have that face reveal shot, so they had the character do something so insanely dumb, it's like the atmosphere of the planet he's been on is 90% whatever's in a can of computer duster, and that kind of did it for me. The whole episode was that, not just style over substance, some style and an almost complete lack of substance or sense. Don't get me wrong, Ezra Bridger getting gattered like Ki-Adi-Mundi was a scene that I was genuinely hoping would happen in Star Wars Rebels at some point. In that way, Ezra Bridger may have been miscast in this series, because the actor they got was not nearly annoying enough to play the real Ezra Bridger. It's like, who would Disney cast as Trey Smartez? In an ideal world, Disney, if you're listening, cast Dylan Mulvaney. Do it, you cowards.
Do it.
Because I'm going full on accelerationist with Disney Star Wars at this point. I'm so done. And to think at one point I was quite interested when Disney bought Star Wars. I thought, well, at least they plan on doing something with the franchise. George Lucas doesn't seem to be at the moment. It has been a long time since the prequels. I didn't anticipate them doing this with it. And in much the same way that the story of Ahsoka struggled to go anywhere, by the end of Ahsoka, the whole story is pretty much unconcluded, and I have doubts it ever will be. They didn't finish the Thrawn storyline. He was back in the home galaxy doing something on Dathomir, the planet of the Night Sisters, probably involving a lot of mystery boxes. The most human and animated character in the entire series was probably the robot. David Tennant droid. David Tennant is a pro. Ahsoka and Sabine talk about how Sabine risked a galactic civil war to get her boyfriend back and betrayed Ahsoka. Ahsoka forgives her, saying her master Anakin always stood by her. And yeah, as for the cosplay this time, I did promise a while back I was going to put up some women dressed as Sith. And this is one of the least racy ones I could find, if anything. A lot of women treat cosplay and dressing up as Sith like it's Halloween and wear things that they probably never would in real life. There were quite a few with female Star Wars fans that had dressed, and I use that word very loosely, in outfits where a lightsaber was the only thing covering their jubblies. Meanwhile, Shin got stuck in the other galaxy, where she looked like she was joining up with the Raiders. Balon was doing something on a giant statue, another mystery box that, due to the passing of Ray Stevenson, probably won't ever even get opened. And Ahsoka and Sabine are stuck as well, though I don't know why they just don't go and find another space whale. So yeah, the whole series was not a battle of wits between two able adversaries, where one wins in a display of courage, guile and strength. It was a battle of which side was the least catastrophically stupid. In short, Disney's Ahsoka was bloody awful. And yet, Ahsoka still manages to be better than Velma, The Rings of Power, Witcher Blood Origin, Gotham Knights, and as far as this YouTube channel goes, Ahsoka was actually one of the better things I've watched for it.
Jesus.
What about the other Jedi spread across the galaxy?
I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic...
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.